This is West African Voice Network.
Hello and welcome to Newswave on West African Voice Network with me, Eve Edwards. Coming up, Chad's president calls for unity and anti-corruption measures. President Mahamat Idris Deby Itno has called for national unity and crackdown on corruption, emphasizing the need for a Chad free from ideological divisions. In his Eid message on Monday, he addressed the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, stressing the importance of integrity, justice, and Republican values. The president warned against corruption, declaring zero tolerance for misappropriation of public resources. He also urged religious leaders and Muslim community to foster national unity, avoid doctrinal disputes, and strengthening social cohesion. Highlighting ethical and religious values, Deby condemned individuals exploiting Chad's wealth without moral consideration and called for personal accountability, urging collective commitments to building a stronger and more just Chad. Now let's move on to Senegal, where President Faye calls for national cohesion. In Senegal, President Bassirou called for solidarity, unity, and national cohesion after participating in the Qurite prayer, marking the end of Ramadan. In his message, he reaffirmed his commitment to serving Senegal with loyalty, rigor, and humility to meet the expectations of the people. He also praised religious and traditional leaders, particularly the Imam Ratib of the Great Mosque of Dakar, for their role in preserving social cohesion and ensuring national stability. With Senegalese Muslims celebrating Qurite on March 31st, though some observed Eid on March 30th, the president stressed the need for national harmony. Now let's move on to Nigeria, where Lassa fever outbreak claims 118 lives. The Lassa fever outbreak in Nigeria has claimed 118 lives between January and March 2025. According to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the virus, transmitted by rodents, was first identified in Borno State in 1969 and continued to spread, particularly in rural areas where poor sanitation and food handling remain major challenges. In the first 3 months of the year, 645 confirmed cases were recorded, with fatality rate of 18.3%. According to the NCDC, Director General Jade Idris, the country has been recording around 100 Lassa fever deaths every quarter in the recent years. Among the latest cases, over 20 health workers were infected across 5 of the 33 affected states. Idris highlighted staff shortage in treatment centers and delays in seeking medical care as major obstacles to controlling the outbreak. Many patients opt for self-medication and ineffective alternative treatment, further complicating efforts to curb the disease. Now moving on to the DR Congo. DRC and M23 rebels set for direct talks in Qatar. The governments of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda-Backed M23 rebels are set to hold direct talks on April 9th in Doha, Qatar. According to the media reports, this would be the first direct negotiations since M23 fighters captured 2 major cities in the eastern Congo, escalating the conflict that has left thousands dead and misplaced hundreds of thousands. A Congolese official stated that talks would proceed unless the other side misbehaves. An M23 source confirmed the date and said they would present their demand to Kinshasa. Both sides have agreed not to publicly disclose the content of the negotiations. The development follows a surprise meeting between Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame in Doha on March 18th. Since then, Qatar has hosted separate rounds of talk with Congolese M23 representatives, though they have not yet met face to face. Rwanda denies supporting M23, insisting its military is acting in self-defense against hostile militias in Congo. The conflict, rooted in aftermath of Rwanda's 1994 genocide and competition for Eastern Congo's mineral wealth, has raged on the border between Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda for decades. M23 has long pushed for direct negotiations, but Tshisekedi refused, claiming the rebels were merely a proxy for Rwanda. However, amid mounting battlefield losses, he recently agreed to send a delegation to Rwanda, Angola, that the meeting was cancelled at the last minute after M23 withdrew following EU sanctions against its leadership. That will be all for Newswave on West African Voice Network. For more news from across the region and beyond, this is WAVN.org. Stay connected with us on X, Instagram, and Facebook as WAVN News, and on TikTok and YouTube at West African Voice Network. My name is Eve Edwards, and thanks for watching.